Hi, Gemini. Thank you so much for checking out your October 2020 tarot reading. Please remember this channel is pretty new, so it needs all the support it can get. Please remember to like, to comment, and subscribe, as well as check me out on Facebook and Instagram at claire.voyant.queen and Twitter at _Claire_voyant. I have a whole bunch of Halloween goodies headed your way, and I cannot wait to share them with you. Please remember that energy can be vice versa. This could apply to you, but this also could apply to your partner. This could apply to anyone around you. Please also check out your sun, your moon, your rising, and your Venus for more messages and more content. Thank you so much. Hi, Gemini. Welcome to your October 2020 tarot reading. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. Let's get started. I am changing up my decks, so we're going with a Romance Angels deck for the first pull, and then we're going to go with the classic Rider-Waite tarot deck to clarify everything at the end. I think this is going to be way easier and way more specific, and I think you're going to gain more information out of it. But let's go. Let's dive in. Tell me about Gemini. Tell me about Gemini. Tell me about Gemini for October of 2020. Tell me about Gemini. Tell me about Gemini for October of 2020. Okay. Tell me about Gemini. Tell me about Gemini for October of 2020. Tell me about Gemini. Gemini. Okay, this feels good. Gemini, let's see what we have here. Retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. Deception. Someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship. And chemistry. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. Interesting. Wow. This is wild. Okay, so the universe is telling you that there is some sort of connection or some sort of relationship where you have a strong magnetic attraction to someone else, or someone has that to you, or you both have that to each other. They look very much in love in this image. However, it's also telling you to be careful because you have deception here. Someone is wearing a false mask in this connection. So even though there's a strong magnetic attraction, someone might not be being their most authentic self, whether that be you or your partner in this connection. And because of that, they really want you to retreat, right? It's time to disconnect from the world and disconnect from this relationship. It's probably an act of kind of going inwards, going inwards and kind of spending some solo time, spending time isolating and really reflecting on how you feel about this connection. There might be some sort of like mirage energy in terms of like, it's everything that you've wanted, but there's something kind of going on under the surface, and the universe is asking you to step away from that and really take a look about what's going on here. Let's dive into some spirit animal cards, and we'll kind of clarify what's already on the board. Tell me about Gemini. Tell me about Gemini. Tell me about Gemini. Gemini. Tell me about, Tell me about Gemini for October of 2020. October of 2020. Tell me about Gemini. Tell me about Gemini for October of 2020. Let's give it one last little shuffle here. I feel like these cards really want to talk. I feel like something big is going on here. Maybe I lied. Maybe this is the last shuffle. Okay. Tell me about Gemini for October of 2020. Yeah. Wow. Transformation. The butterfly is already out on the board. Tell me about Gemini for October of 2020. Tell me about Gemini for October of 2020. Okay. Gemini, you are the moth. Wow. So we have a moth and we have a butterfly. Both very, very airy, logistical, cognitive, intellectual cards, right? These are air cards. Gemini is an air sign. So you're coming up as very much, whatever this connection is, you're heavily thinking about it. You're heavily reflecting on it. There's a lot going on, a lot of mental internal processing. Your partner is the vulture. Interesting, we just had this card for Aquarius in the same position. In your emotional connection, we have the nightingale. Wow, look at all of the fucking birds. Look at all of the birds and look at all of these insects. All of them fly. That is wild. Wild, wild, wild. And then in your physical connection, we have the lizard. Something that does not fly. But, wow, that's pretty crazy. We have air, 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 fire. You might be dealing with an air sign, a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. This is really interesting. Okay, let's dive into the guidebook and we'll kind of zoom in on these a little bit deeper. Okay. Let's see here. The moth. Gemini, you are the first card in the air suit. That's kind of cool. The moth is impulsive, hasty, and witchful. The moth is sure the grass is greener on the other side. Moth energy is at play when we're attracted to easy solutions or anything shiny and new. This card can lead to unfinished projects, disappointment, or burnout. It's helpful to remind moth personalities that life is complex. No matter the illusion, no one is exempt from the trials and tribulations of this great journey. Practice seeing life as an infinite mystery rather than wishing it was easier or different. Interesting that it's really focusing on like you really being attracted to shiny and new things. I feel like you might have a personality of being easily distracted. I don't know why that's coming through really strongly. Whatever this connection is, whatever this relationship is, it's the thing that is shiny and new, right? It's shiny, it's new, I want it. And it feels like that's what's making you magnetically attracted to this. However, something is off in this connection or in this relationship, and they're really asking you to kind of separate yourself, right? Separate yourself from this like new and shiny thing. Go internally, process internally what is wrong in this connection, and then kind of come back out of it. That's interesting. The vulture. Let's see here. Vulture. Your partner is the vulture, guardian and purifier, essential for rebalance. The vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. It does the dirty work that no one else wants to do and cleans up our messes. The vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or brought back into balance. Remember, the vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or tragedy is a blessing in disguise. What's interesting here is that the vulture is actually like an incredibly positive card, right? Really talks about kind of eating, nipping, and pecking away at parts that at parts of us that might be detrimental to ourselves, right? We're kind of picking away at the diseased, we're picking away at the diseased flesh. to really make room for like new improvements and new growth and like a healthier environment and healthier lifestyle. However, one thing that I am getting with the vulture, especially with this card about deception, someone is wearing a false mask in this relationship, is this kind of shadowy nature. Whoever this person that you might be magnetically attracted to, whoever is like considered shiny and new, who might have some sort of shadowy nature, might not be everything that you believe them to be, right? It feels a little bit shadowy. It feels like it's kind of shrouded. They might be there for a reason to really help you kind of come back into balance and really kind of pull you away. You might be having an issue with codependency, which is interesting. But they might be like trying to like pull you into yourself and really kind of hone you and focus on yourself. But this person seems a little shadowy to me, I gotta be honest. I don't know how I feel about that. In your emotional connection, we have the Nightingale, right? Ooh, pardon me. The Nightingale. I love this card. It's so pretty. Nightingale. Fearless voice, speech, communication, or song. The song of the nightingale is otherworldly. This simple brown bird, almost unnoticeable among the flashy plumage of other birds, transports its listener to the realm of poetry. Nightingale energy is with us when we write, when we compose, and especially when we sing. It reminds us that music heals the deepest wounds. This card indicates a need to open the bridge between the heart and the voice. Is there something you need to say? How long has it been since you sang? Turn it up, write it down, and let it out. Right, we're really talking about like communicating, but not only communicating what's on our minds, but we're also learning to communicate like what's on our heart, right? What we have, what we feel emotionally, right? Look at how this like bird is almost like projectiling like all of this music and all of this like vocal expression. That needs to be, that's the advice for this connection. This is a card that's suggesting that there's little to no communication in this relationship based on how we feel and how we express. And the universe really wants you to focus on like coming to terms with how we feel, maybe with ourselves, but also with this individual. Interesting. I just heard call out. You might know something that the other person does not know that you need to call out or that you need to express. But something needs to be said before we kind of go internally and we really retreat here, which is interesting. We have the lizard in our physical connection. Let's find this guy. The lizard. Boop, 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 boop. There's the butterfly. Okay. Here we go. Lizard. Instinctual, sensitive to the subtle, the dreamer. The lizard is an expert in the realm of sensory perception. As if it had a sixth sense, the lizard hears what is yet to be spoken and sees what is yet to manifest. Although this is an amazing gift, it can easily wear the lizard down. Big crowds, lots of travel, or overstimulation will drain a lizard of their magical essence. This card is an indication to pull back from the bright lights in the big city and return to the inner artist who's been whispering your name. There's lots of indications of artistry, especially with the nightingale being about like poetry, of like writing, of like language, of singing, of the lizard, returning to the inner artist, being like very like sensory and like sensory, having, what is that, sensory perception, that sixth sense. There's lots about like feeling and expressing in a very like magical and psychic way, but also being very much an artist. This you or your partner might be an artist, is what I'm gathering. I'm also kind of getting the fact that either you or your partner or both of you, someone might be very draining in this connection or draining in this relationship. And it feels like as much as there's a strong magnetic attraction, it feels like someone is wearing a false mask. I really get that it's your partner, and I really get that it's either draining you or draining them. Whatever this thing is that really needs to be expressed. And in order to really fix that, in order to really bring that into balance, right? Because we're talking about the vulture bringing things into balance, something really needs to be expressed here, right? Something needs to be expressed. And once that's expressed, then we retreat, right? I literally think this said retreat. Didn't this say retreat? This said, oh, maybe not. But it does say this card is an indication to pull back from the bright lights in the big city and return to the inner artist who's been whispering your name, right? Retreat, retreat, retreat. There's this energy of definitely going internal, like being in this connection, something is wrong in this connection, and kind of going internally and listening and honing in on yourself and who you are and what you want, right? And then we have the butterfly here, which came out in the overall connection. Sign the butterfly. Undergoing a great change and transformation. The energy of the butterfly is with us during periods of transition. Since air is the element of the heart, this change usually involves relationships. Interesting. Or if you love your job, perhaps your career. Since transition is accompanied by some amount of discomfort, be extra patient and kind during this time, especially if the butterfly is you. Let solid friends and activities support you like a cocoon, committing to one daily routine, a meal, a practice, a prayer, done at the same time, same place, done at the same place and time will do wonders for lifting a butterfly's spirit. Right? I feel like you're on the borderline, like the precipice of some really big like transformation in terms of like who you are and how you identify yourself. I feel like this relationship is almost like sparking you, right? Sparking you to kind of undergo some sort of transformation. And this transformation can only really be done when we retreat, right? We think about the caterpillar, right? And we think about how it retreats into its cocoon, right? And then it spends time in there and then becomes this butterfly, which is like pretty remarkable, right? But it only can do that when it retreats, right? Let's pull some Rider-Waite Tarot. We'll kind of clarify what's on the board and we'll wrap it up. We'll go from there. Tell me about Gemini. Tell me about Gemini. Tell me about Gemini for October of 2020. Tell me about Gemini for October of 2020. Don't you find it odd that we had literally 4 air cards? That's like amazing to me. That doesn't happen a lot. Tell me about Gemini. Ooh, I had a card fall out. The deck wants to talk. Interesting. Oh my god, this is actually, I honestly haven't even seen this before. This is like the little preview of the full deck. I didn't even realize that was in the deck. That's kind of interesting. I feel like I went through all these cards and I didn't even see that. It's odd that that's coming out now. Gemini for October of 2020. Okay. Tell me about Gemini. Tell me about Gemini for October 2020. Okay, this feels nice. This feels shuffled. Let's do it. Gemini, in your current situation, we have the 3 of Rods. Interesting. In your partner's current situation, we have the 6 of Cups. Wild. Okay. In your past connection, whoa! Why are these coming out all of a sudden? Y'all, I have used this deck for probably at least 2 weeks, at least 3 weeks. I feel like I went through each of the cards individually, and I have never seen these like preview cards before. And they just both happen to come out at the same, like roughly the same time in the same reading. That's really odd to me. I don't know why. Huh. That's a sign for some of you. I don't know why I keep saying like preview, preview, preview. It could be the indication of like a preview of something to come, or just sort of like, preview being like a new beginning of what's to come. But that would probably resonate with some of you. It's really weird. I didn't even realize those were in the deck. I've been working with this deck for like 2 weeks. I didn't even think this deck came with anything like that. And it's weird that they're just now popping out. I'm going to give it one more shuffle. Ooh. See, these cards really want to talk. Tell me about Gemini. Tell me about Gemini for October of 2020. Tell me about Gemini. Okay. Back to it. In your past connection, we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. In your current connection, we have the Knight of Wands upright. In your future connection, we have the Eight of Swords in reverse. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So let's see. We have a 3, we have a 6, and we have an 8. No repeating numbers. We got 2 wands, we got a pentacle, we got a swords, and we got a cups. So we have a little bit of like a fiery, passionate thing going on, not too heavy, however. Let's see. So we have the 3 of rods, right, Gemini? And this is someone who's kind of standing on top of this cliff, standing on top of this mountain. He has these 3 rods that are firmly planted in the ground, and he's overlooking, it's kind of challenging to tell, but he's overlooking this huge body of water. It's probably like an ocean, right? And all of these ships are coming in, and he's observing, he's watching, he's waiting for all of these ships to come in. This is someone who's manifested something. This is someone who spent a lot of time, effort, and energy and waiting for essentially all of these goods and everything he's wanted to come in. It's kind of a card of manifestation, right? So it feels like there's something you're currently waiting for. It feels like you might be waiting for something to happen in this connection, something to happen in this relationship that hasn't necessarily happened. I keep feeling like you're dodging something. This moth card is really interesting. Like, it's almost like I feel like you're really attracted to this connection and to this relationship, and you're almost like, it's like you're aware that someone's wearing a false mask or of something of that nature, but like you don't want to accept that someone's wearing a false mask, and you're kind of just waiting for something to happen in this connection. Very, very interesting energy. But I kind of feel like the universe is asking you to retreat, to retreat, to retreat, to retreat, to express what you need to express, to say what you need to say, and then go internally. Go internally and process what's going on, is how it feels. Then in your partner's current situation, we have the 6 of Cups, right? Which is an energy of like, it's these 2 little kids, and they have their 6 cups, and they're all blooming flowers, and they're exchanging their emotions, and they're exchanging their thoughts and their feelings with each other. But it's really a card of like reflecting, of like reminiscing, right? It's a card of like memories. It's a card of like childhood. It is a card of soulmates. There's only so many soulmate cards in the tarot, and this is one of them. But it's a really beautiful, beautiful, nostalgic energy. So it feels like your partner's kind of like in this very daydreamy energy. It could be about you, it could be about another person. Does feel like it might be another person. I gotta be honest. It does feel like it might be another person. That might be why someone is wearing a false mask here, because someone's not committing to you fully. Is that how I feel like that's how I feel? Interesting. They're very daydreamy, and their mind is elsewhere right now. Interesting. In your past connection, we have the Page of Pentacles, right? So we also have the Knight of Wands too here, so we could be working with we could be working with a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, or we could be working with an Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius. But the Page of Pentacles is someone who has a lot of maturing to do, right? But it's someone who's really fixated on wealth, who's really fixated on security and stability, and someone who has the desperate desire to work, to seek, to obtain, right? And they're just starting out, they're just learning, but this is where they want to go. This is where their hopes and dreams lie. But because it's in reverse, that pentacle is going to fall away. Pages sometimes are messages, so this could be coming through via social media, a text. It could be coming through an email or a call or just literally person to person, but it's some sort of message regarding stability or security. And this happened in the past. And it feels like, because gravity really takes the pentacle out of his hand, it feels like this message was kind of almost like a loss of stability or a loss of security in terms of this connection or this relationship, or perhaps in terms of something that you want or wanted. You might be clinging to this individual because you have lost something in the past. Or vice versa, this individual could be clinging to you because they lost something in the past. In your current connection, we have the Knight of Wands, right? Knight of Wands is sometimes known as the player energy. However, it's someone who essentially is always moving, always doing, always seeking, right? They're always on the move. They're always up for an adventure. Knight of Wands are very passionate, very fiery. They invest all of their time, effort, and energy into projects, into accomplishments, right? It's very it does have this tendency of being very fighty and flighty, right? They always come and they always go. They never stay. They never still, right? It's not stable, right? It's very energetic. There's a lot of energy there. There's a lot that can be done with that energy, but it's not necessarily in a very stable place. 3 seems to be coming up a lot here. I'm just noticing right now that we have the 3 Giza pyramids right on the bottom of this, and we also have a 3 of rods on the board. And 3 sometimes indicate third-party situations. So if you did resonate with the idea of someone's mind is kind of reminiscing, of reflecting, of daydreaming, perhaps on somebody else and someone that's not you, it could be on a third party. Interesting. I do kind of get the impression that this vulture here is the Knight of Wands. See, I almost said 3 of Wands. Wild. Yeah, and I feel like that's the deception that's going on here. I feel like someone could be cheating, or maybe not necessarily cheating, but almost like stuck in the past on a past connection they've had, is the energy that I'm getting. Sorry, Gemini, my camera battery died, but last but not least, we have the 8 of Swords in reverse, right? This is the future outcome. One thing that's really wild to me when I saw this card is I immediately thought of the cocoon metaphor with the butterfly here. She almost feels like whoever this individual is here, like just the fact that they're hanging upside down, just the fact that they're almost like wrapped up here. It almost like feels like they're hanging from a cocoon, or they're being trapped by a cocoon here. So this butterfly metaphor is really ringing true for me. It also feels that you might be trapped in this situation or in this connection or in this relationship, But essentially, this is someone who is blind, they can't see, they're tied, they can't move, and they're surrounded by all these sharp swords, right? And how are you going to essentially navigate your way out of this situation? Well, when it's in reverse, gravity is going to allow those swords to fall out of the ground, and this woman is going to be free to escape this connection or whatever is going on here. So the future outcome actually feels good. It feels like there's progress being made here. I gotta be honest, this does not feel like a very strong relationship or strong connection. Interesting. Yeah, I just kind of want to summarize what I'm feeling here because I feel like there's a lot going on. It does feel like you have a tendency to be gravitated towards new and shiny things, right? And so it feels like there's a strong magnetic connection here, and it feels like that's really you towards this individual. Could be this individual towards you, could be both, but it definitely feels like you towards this individual. We have deception. Someone is wearing a false mask in this relationship, and I do feel like I really get the impression that this is your partner. This vulture feels very shadowy. It doesn't feel like it's normal description. It feels like there's something lurking below the surface here with this vulture card, and I feel like that's the deception. And I feel like, again, the universe is asking you to express how you feel, retreat, recharge your batteries to essentially initiate some sort of transformation that this person has caused. It does feel like this is a relationship, and it does feel like this person is reminiscing or daydreaming on somebody or something. I really do not get the impression that it's you. I don't. Even 6 minus 3 is 3, right? And then we got another 3 here. I feel like 3 is really speaking to someone who is in a third-party connection. It just feels like this relationship isn't steady, it isn't stable, it isn't secure, is what it feels like. But it feels like it's not supposed to be, because it feels like it's prepping you. It's giving you a preview for something to come, right? For you to kind of grow and for you to blossom. But Gemini, I hope this resonated with you. Thank you so much for checking out your October 2020 tarot reading, and I will see you in November. Thanks, guys.